Sri Gurubhyo Namaha children, you are welcome for online class Ekalaiva. Class 9, this is your 7th unit supplementary reader, second part. Christmas Truss supplementary reader, and it is second part. In the first part we saw that a brother writes a letter and it was in the warfield, and how we celebrated the Christmas in the warfield. So he was just explaining and sharing all the feelings of him, how he was, and the same the enemy also will be, enemy soldier also will be facing the dangers, and he also will be undergoing all the experience what he is undergoing. So he hated only when his friend was killed. So till this it is very clear, children. We will continue. Okay. Just yesterday morning, Christmas Eve day, we had our first good freeze. Cold as we were, we welcomed it because at least the mud frost solid. Everything was tinged white with frost while a bright sun shone over everything. Perfect Christmas weather. So he was celebrating, the weather was like a perfect Christmas weather. Previous day it was raining, and now it was not raining, it was a frost and everywhere white color, and the sun shines, and it was a right time and right weather for the Christmas. During the day there was little shelling or a rifle fire from either side. So during the daytime there was little shelling or rifle fire from either side. There was a fire on either side. German soldiers were firing and British soldiers were firing, and there was morning time, it was having some fire, and our first complete silence in month. It was a complete silence in the month. The whole month they were just hearing only the bullet sound and shooting of the rifles, and you know that somebody will be crying and they will be dying. Only these things they were seeing, and it was a silence of that month. So it was a Christmas day and it was a silence day. Our first complete silence in the month. We hoped it might promise a peaceful holiday, but didn't count on it. We had been told the Germans might attack and try to catch us off guards. So it was a Christmas. So here normally if you are working as some other person in our office, you will be getting a holiday, you can enjoy. But as a soldier, at any time in the border, you will be attacked by the enemy soldier. The German soldier will be attacking a British soldier. So there was warning given, don't think it is silence, at any time they will be attacking, so we must be get ready. So guard the place, soldiers. That was the order given by the higher authority to the soldiers, and they were very cautious and curious, and what will happen to the next moment, it was not assurance. I went to the dugout to rest, and lying on my cot, I must have drifted asleep. All at once my friend John was shaking me awake, saying, "Come and see what the Germans are doing." I grabbed my rifle, tumbled out into the trench, and stuck my head cautiously above the sandbags. So I went to dugout to rest. So the narrator, the author was just dug out as I went to dugout to rest, and lying on my cot, I must have drifted asleep all at once. My friend John was shaking me awake. "Come on, get up," saying, "Come and see what the Germans are doing." I grabbed my rifle, stumbled out into the trench, and stuck my head cautiously above the sandbags. So here he was just getting, so when he was saying that, the friend was saying that, see what German soldiers are doing, he was very cautious and taking the rifle to fire them. I never hoped to see a stranger and more lovely sight. Clusters of tiny lights were shining all along the German line, left and right as far as the eye could see. So the German soldiers were celebrating their Christmas. They lit it all left and right lines. Where their border line is they are just lighted on both the left side and right side of them. And it was like a twinkling star, and the light was just giving a brightness there. And till what they are seeing, their high side, till that they found that it was a lightning. "What is it?" I asked in bewilderment, and John answered, Christmas trees. So he was asking, what is that? Why they lighted? So he says that all Christmas trees. And so it was. The Germans had placed Christmas trees in front of their trenches, lit by the candle or lantern like beacons of goodwill. So it was. The Germans had placed a Christmas tree in front of their trenches. So they just kept the Christmas tree on their front of trenches, and candle or lantern or lighting like a beacons of goodwill. And then we hear them singing. So they heard them singing. So Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, that is in English it is Silent Night, Holy Night. So that is a song, a carol song. You know that you will be just singing a carol song on the Christmas day, Eve. So they were singing like after lightening that. This carol may not yet be familiar to us in Britain. So here they were singing in German language. It was not known to them for the British people, and it was new to their ears, but John knew it and translated. John knew German and he knew it and he translated. It is silent night, holy night. I have never heard one lovelier or more meaningful. In that quite clear night, its darkness softened by a fresh quarter moon. So here it was so silent, and the song really perfectly fits in that place. When the song finished, the men in our trenches applauded. Yes, British soldiers applauded Germans. Then one of our own men started singing and we all joined in. So here it's a darkness softened by a first quarter moon. When the song finished, the men in our trenches applauded. So after the song is over, the British soldiers all applauded. They just given clap for the song and they were just hearing it. Yes, British soldiers applauded Germans. Then one of our own men started singing. So here British soldier, one among them started singing and we all joined in. The first novel, the angel did say. So they started a song. In truth, we sounded not nearly as good as Germans. So our voice was not that much good like Germans. So he accepts German are very good singers than a British people or British soldiers who were there. But they responded with enthusiastic applause of their own and then began another. So the German soldiers applauded for the British and they started one more song of the carol. O Tannenbaum, O Tannenbaum. Then we replied, O come all ye faithful. So then next song had been sung. O come all ye faithful. But this time they joined in singing the words in Latin. So they started, they were just singing a German song and now they started their words in Latin. At Steve Fiddles, Britain and German harmonizing across no man's land. I would have thought nothing could be more amazing. But what came next was even more so. So here there was no man's land. In that place, Britain and German harmonizing across no man's land. I would have thought nothing could be more amazing. But what came next was even more so. English, come over. We heard one of them shout. You know shoot, we know shoot. So the German was calling, English, one of you come. You know shoot, we know shoot. That was the word they heard. There in the trench, we looked at each other in bewilderment. Then one of us shouted jokingly, you come over here. So one of them jokingly called, you come over here. To our astonishment, we saw two figures rise from a trench, climb over their barbed wire and advance unprotected across no man's land. To our astonishment, we saw two figures rise from a trench, climb over their barbed wire and advance unprotected across no man's land. One of them called, send officer to talk. So one of them called, to send your officer to talk. I saw one of our men lift his rifle to the ready. and no doubt others did the same, but our captain called out, "Hold your fire!" Then he climbed out and went to meet the Germans halfway. So he said, "Hold your fire." And one of the officers went to meet. We heard them talking, and a few minutes later, the captain came back and announced, "We have agreed that there will be no shooting before midnight tomorrow, but sentries or remain on duty, and the rest of you stay alert." So here he said that we were talking, and in a meeting we were just tomorrow midnight till there won't be any shooting, and but you be alert, and those who are in duty, you must be alert. Across the way, we could make out a group of 2 or 3 men starting out of the trenches and coming towards us. So across the way, we could make out a group of 2 or 3 men starting out of the trenches and coming towards us. Then some of us climbed out too, and in minutes they were in no man's land, over 100 soldiers and officers of each side, shaking hands with men we had been trying to kill just hours earlier. So just hours earlier they were enemies and they were tried to kill each other, and now they came out, and no man place where they are just gathered, and both the enemy soldier and the soldiers shaking their hands, hundreds of soldiers. So before long a bonfire was built, and around it we mingled British khaki and German grey. So British was there in a khaki uniform, Germans were in their grey uniform. In the no man land place, they all gathered, hundreds and hundreds of soldiers gathered there, and they were fire. Only a couple of our men knew German, but more of the Germans knew English. I asked one of them why that was so. So here only few in this British people will be knowing German, but most of the German were knowing English, and the soldier had a doubt, British soldier, the narrator had a doubt, and he was asking how it is possible. And what was answer from them? Because many have worked in England. So the answer for that is, many of them have worked in England. He said, before all this, I was a waiter at the Hotel Sicily. Perhaps I waited on your table. So he said that one of the soldiers, German soldier said, I was working as a waiter in a Hotel Sicily. So perhaps I would have waited on your table. So he was saying, perhaps you did. I said, laughing. Perhaps you did. I said, and the soldier said, and laughing. Another German had been a porter at Victoria Station. So he was a porter at the Victoria Station. He showed me a picture of his family back in Munshi. So he showed the family of him whose family is staying in Munshi. And it was so lovely. I told him I would like to meet his family members someday. He happily gave me his family address. So he gave him his family address, and he said, I'll be, if chance I get, I'll be meeting your family. So immediately he gave his family address. So this was the enemy soldiers undergoing. Even those who could not converse could still exchange gifts. They were not able to converse. They are not knowing English and they are not knowing Germany. They are not able to converse, but they exchanged their gifts. A tea for their coffee. So their German had a tea and British had a coffee, and they exchanged it. And our corned meat for their sausage. They gave sausage and they given a corned meat for, they exchanged. Badges and buttons, they were having badges. That badges had been exchanged. Buttons from the shirt they have exchanged. From uniform, changed owners. And one of our boys walked off with a spiked helmet. So one of our boys walked with a spiked helmet. I myself traded a jack. So one of the soldiers got a spiked helmet from German people. And I myself traded a jackknife. Even the author got a gift from German soldier, a knife, a jackknife for a leather equipment belt. a fine sovereign to show when I get home. So I got from him, and I will show this to my family members. The author got this thing because he wanted to show to his family members. As it grew late, a few more songs were traded around the fire. So as it grew late, a few more songs were traded around the fire, and then all joined in fire. I'm not lying to you. A Lord land sign. Then we parted with promise to meet again tomorrow, and there was even some talk of the football match. So it was late night and they were singing songs, and they promised that they'll be meeting the next day also and tomorrow also. And there was even some talk of football. So they were talking about football match. I was just starting back to the trenches when an older German soldier clutched my arm. My God, he said, why can't we have peace and all go home? So now an old soldier in the German side was holding the author's hand, and he's saying, oh God, he said, why can't we have peace and all go homes? Why can't we have peace and go home? So that old man is saying, I told him gently that you must ask your emperor. So I told him gently, you must ask your emperor. He looked at me searchingly and said, perhaps my friend. So he was looking, searching and saying, perhaps my friend. But we must also ask our hearts. But we must also ask our hearts. And so, dear sister, so here he is telling to his sister, but we must also ask our hearts. And so, dear sister, tell me, has there ever been such a Christmas ever in all history? What does it all mean? This impossible befriending of enemies. So why we have to celebrate Christmas? Whether any Christmas in the history will be celebrated like this? So he's asking a question to his sister. Why there must be a war? Why can't be there peace? So that was his feeling. As the old soldier asked him, he also thinking, and he's just sharing to his sister, and why we need war? Why can't we have a peace? So that was his thing. For the fighting your ear, of course it means regrettably little. Decent fellows those soldiers may be, but they follow orders and we do the same. Besides, we are here to stop their army and send it home, and never could we struck that duty. So here for the fighting here, of course, it means regretfully little. So here regretfully it is little. So even the German soldiers are not wish to fight, and British soldiers also not wish to fight, but their emperors, the leaders, they decide, and because of that war was there. Decent fellows, these soldiers may be, but they follow orders. They are decent fellows, but they are following orders. And we do the same. Even I am, as our side soldiers, also following the same. Besides, we are here to stop their army and send it home, and never could we shirk the duty. So here I am also in this border to send them home without a war. So I am in the duty to look after the nation. So that he was feeling. Still one cannot help but imagine what would happen if the spirit shown here were caught by the nations of the world. So the same spirit what the soldiers are having, the same spirit the leaders are having, what will be there? There will be a peace in the nation. So he was just telling that. With the nation of the world, disputes may arise, but what if our leaders were to offer good wishes in the place of warnings, songs in the place of insults, gifts in the place of reprisal? Would not be all wars end at once? So here he is telling. So why there is love and there was a gift? Why there must be hatred? Why this the soldiers thinking? Why these leaders can't think about this? If they feel and think this, they realize this, there won't be a war in the nation. So he was just telling. All nations say they want peace, yet on this Christmas morning, I wonder if we want it quite enough. So here all the nation was talking that they want peace. Even on the Christmas day, I too felt the same, the enough peace for the nation, for everywhere without a war. So that was the author's feeling, and Aaron Shepherd explains that all the nation must be free and there must be peace, and this must be taught by the leaders, not by the soldiers. The soldiers realized why they want a war when befriending is there. So here he says that the soldiers, the leaders can warn them and leave instead of having a war. So this was the mindset of the author, and he just writes the letter to his sister sharing that there must be a peace in the nation. He also wishes the same. All the leaders are talking why there must not be a peace. So if each and every one think, then there will be a peace. Especially the emperors and the leaders, when they think about this, surely there will be a peace in the nation, enough peace in the nation. So that was the word given by the author. I hope you understood the letter written to his sister. So the author writes the letter to his sister asking all over the world the peace after the First World War. So this was taken place in the First World War, and after that UNO had happened, United Nations Organization had started, and there was a world peace, and that had been started with Second World War. And now it is a related time to the thing why there must be a war, everywhere peace. The leaders have to think and every individual have to think. So I think you learned the moral of the lesson, and I understood the lesson very clearly. Okay children, we'll meet you in the next class. To receive your online lessons, please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest letter. Thank you children. See you.